We're right around the corner from kickoff here at Marshall County High School. Coming up after the break, we'll have a full breakdown of this district showdown between the Marshalls and McCracken County. Are you guys ready? Yeah! This is where the biggest Murray State block party that you will ever find has been taking place over the last several hours. As you said, the owner of this establishment, a lot of connections with Murray State. It's a man named Terry Anthony. He's a 1997 graduate of Murray State, played on the Racer football team for then head coach Houston Nutt. Throughout the course of the high school football season, there are a few games that we look forward to, and without question, the top game circled on everyone's schedule: Mayfield and Paducah Tillman. All week long leading up to today's state championship game, Mayfield head coach Joe Morris had talked to his team about the adversity that they've had to overcome since last December. Not only the team, but the town itself. But he said the one thing the team has been able to provide this town was a much needed break over the last several months as they've come together each Friday night to smile and enjoy a high school football game. In yesterday's first game for the Murray State Racers in this tournament, they pulled off an absolute shocker, upsetting 24th ranked Texas A&M. But head coach Steve Prohm very quick to point out to his team they really couldn't enjoy that game for too long. They had another game to play less than 24 hours later. Last night, Murray State fans got their first glimpse at this year's Murray State men's basketball program. The Racers beating Brescia 102-57. And although not a lot can be learned about how the team will play together, as the Racers really kept things very basic, we can learn a lot about individual players. And last night, junior guard Quincy Anderson was one of several players that really stood out. Anderson showed off his ability at both ends of the floor, finishing with 17 points and was perfect from the floor. He also led the team in rebounds with 7 and showed off his defensive skills with 3 steals. And it was after the game that head coach Steve Prohm compared him to some of the best all-around players he's coached at Murray State.
He's a Murray guy, you know. I mean, he's kind of in the mold of a little bit of like a Jawan Long, Isaac Mile. Just got some grit and toughness to him and just really, really competes. I mean, he's going to be a big, big piece to our team this year.
Coming in, like I'd said, I was mainly looked at as a shooter, maybe a scorer. But my goal is to continue to develop. You know, I'm never too old. You know, a basketball player's never too old to develop, you know. So that was my thing. And like I said, man, I just want to win basketball games.
The Racers open the season on Monday night at St. Louis. The Kentucky Wildcats will tip off the season in 4 days at home against Howard. But leading up to that game, the Wildcats had 2 exhibition games on their schedule. The first, October 30th, when head coach John Calipari said his team has a long way to go. Tonight, the Wildcats will hold their second and final exhibition game against Kentucky State. Oscar Sheboy once again not playing tonight. Plan for him, though, is to play on Monday if healthy. First half, Kentucky up 4. C.J. Frederick forcing the turnover. Lance Ware misses the lay-in, but Frederick there for the putback. Great hustle play. He had 14. Kentucky up 6. Then a 14-0 run. Kentucky's lead at 19-7. They would start to go outside. Chris Livingston knocks down the corner 3. Wildcats' biggest lead at 14. It got much bigger from there. Over the next several minutes, Antonio Reeves going to bury the 3 on the wing. He finished with a team-high 23 points. Kentucky rolling up 30-7. That will be nowhere near done in the half. Now up 45-14 off the miss in transitions. So Kason Wallace with a nice move in the lane and the lay-in. Kentucky rolls 111-53. College soccer night semifinals, the Missouri Valley Conference Tournament. Murray State taking on top-seeded Valpo. 8 minutes into the first half, no score. Racers off the break. Soraya Young to Mary Hardy. The shot in the top right-handed corner. Murray State with an early 1-0 lead. That lead would hold until the final seconds of the game. Valpo one last chance. The shot on goal. It would not go. Murray State, a huge upset, winning 1-0. They advance the championship game on Sunday against Missouri State. One high school football game of note tonight in Class 5A. Christian County goes on the road to Aintrick, Owensboro, as the Colonels fall 54-16. The rest of the postseason begins tomorrow night in Kentucky and Tennessee. Of course, we'll have all those coverage tomorrow night on Gridiron Glory.
All right, Adam, thanks.
7 years ago, I was blessed to do one of the many stories that we did with the late Cullen Brown. I followed him around Mineral Mounds, his home course, talking about the legacy he was leaving on the game of golf. Well, this past week, I did the same thing with Cullen's sister, Catherine Brown, playing a few holes on a course with a brand new name and her legacy on it.
This is a place where I can relax.
For Catherine Brown, golf isn't always relaxing, but when she's at the Cullen, a course named for her late brother, it's just that.
When I'm out here practicing, it's just a sense of calmness, and you know, if you hit a bad shot, it's practice. You're gonna hit bad shots, so you just tee it up and hit it again. There you go. That's better.
What does this course mean to you when you come out here?
A lot. This is the memories of me and Cullen practicing together, even though my dad really didn't like that because I was a distraction. But I did love the game just as much as he did. I was just too little to understand it yet.
This past October, Brown saw her best result at state, finishing 3rd. But she's more than motivated going forward because she knows her brother is still motivating her.
He gives me a little kick in the butt when I get down on myself, but I can see him working around me, and I definitely would not be the golfer I am today if he wasn't here.
Catherine is now following in Cullen's footsteps to college, where she will play for the Kentucky Wildcats. Was it always going to be Kentucky?
If somebody would have told me I'm going to UK in 2 years, I would have told them they're lying. But now since I've put in a lot of the work, it feels like home there.
Did you feel pressure to go to Kentucky because your brother went there?
I didn't feel any pressure going to UK at all because I didn't look at the outside people. It was me and my decision and my family.
But before she takes that next step to Lexington, unfinished business at the high school level is where she's focused.
I really wanted it last year, my junior year. Cullen won his junior year. But I have one more shot at it.
I guess 7 years ago, I was out here with your brother. Do you remember me coming out here and following us around when we did that story?
I do, because I was the jealous sister that wanted to be on TV. it was funny because he's just like to relax. He didn't care if a camera's pointing at him or not.
Man, it is a great feeling to make one, maybe like that one.
And I'm sitting there like, oh, I want a camera pointed at me. I was like 7.
Fast forward 7 years later, Brown has carved her own legacy on the course in her own way, but also being the role model her brother was to so many.
I'd really like to just be a mentor for younger golfers as well. Be like, she started golf late, so can I. I can be just as good as she is if I just put in the practice. There's not very many young girl golfers, so I'd really like to bring them up and teach them this game. And I know it's complicated, but you can play this sport till you're 90.
It's continuing that golf legacy that means so much to Catherine and the rest of the Brown family, especially here at the Cullen. Take me back to when you hit that first tee shot here when it was renamed the Cullen.
Yeah, I was a little nervous on that tee shot for sure.
Yeah.
But in all scheme of things, it didn't matter where I hit that ball. It just mattered that it was officially called the Cullen and not Mineral Mound.